Welcome back for another video. Who are the best players to buy for Gameweek 6? Some of you have activated your free hit and your wildcard already, so we'll also talk about the best picks for the chips. Scout are currently running a 40% discount with a bonus 5% off if you use my code that I'll put on screen in a sec. It's my 9th year as a member. 9 years I've been a Scout member now. 4 of those were before I started this channel, which shows how much I actually rate Scout. My staple tools personally are the data tables, so I've got tables for attack, defense, all positions, set pieces and all sorts. My tables are public if you want to search for them there. There's the fixture ticker tool, player comparison, defensive contribution data, going back like 7-8 years. The code to use is FFS Focal 5, and the link in the description gets you the 40% off, plus use that code for 5%. So, goalkeepers first, and of course it's Man City home to Burnley, and it's probably a fixture you're not going to stop hearing about this week. So that places Donnarumma top for Gameweek 6. Almost got consecutive clean sheets since making his debut, if not for a brilliant lob goal by Martinelli in stoppage time. My wildcard is active, so I'm giving some serious thought about which goalkeeper's the one long term. It could be 15, 20 game weeks until the second wildcard for all we know. So it's a really big call to make, and my favourite two are Donnarumma and Raya. They're of course more expensive than any other keepers. They are above the rest for the next 5 projections, though of course when we're talking about keepers it's more than just the next 5 game weeks. They're the position that gets by far the least transfers spent. The combinations are also worth considering, like do you go Donnarumma and Gabriel, Raya and Vardy, or maybe you go double Arsenal or double City defence, and then you've got 3 premiums in place there. That's set and forget long term. Elsewhere, Spurs have got Wolves home, who are yet to pick up a point this season, and then they've got Leeds away after that, and then Villa home, so it looks like a really great bunch of 3 fixtures, and that's got Vicaria placed second this week, and third after those 2 premiums for the next 5 game weeks. Every season we tend to get some cheap keepers that do outperform the premiums because of unexpected clean sheets, lots of save points. Right now, Pope, Vicaria and Roofs are the keepers ahead of Raya and Donnarumma for 5 and 4 mil. I mean, Donnarumma we can't really benchmark well yet given he's not played all games. But yeah, Petrovic is actually my favourite of the super cheap goalkeepers. Only 4.5 mil, and Bournemouth are looking totally unaffected by all those departures at the back and in goal over the summer. And that's signs of a brilliant competent manager in Iriola. Let's talk defenders next, and the list is Vardy, Pedro Porro and then Tarkowski top 3 this week. We were talking about Vardy in my transfer plans video in the wildcard team and how nailed he is. He's just back from injury of course, not that long ago, but certainly one of Pep's favourites. He's favoured in a left centre back role in the back 2, arguably their best left centre back in a back 3 as well. Plus he can play left back of course, though Aït-Nouri and O'Reilly are competing there. It's an important one to get a good read on him in a wildcard. Like on a free hit, yeah, he should be safe, but if he ultimately missed, say 2 of the next 10 games for example, then in theory you'd back Donnarumma to be the better pick, unless Vardy can get an attacking return or 2 to make up the difference. But I am coming round to Vardy on the wildcard. At this stage, it is worth that I remind you that there's a lot of midweek football before Gameweek 6. I'll name all the teams here that are going to play. So Brighton, Burnley, Fulham, Chelsea, Wolves, Everton, Liverpool, Man City, Newcastle, Spurs, Arsenal, Forest and Villa all play before the next deadline. The latter 2 there, Villa and Forest, are in the Europa League, the others League Cup. I'd like to see Vardy and the likes of Haaland get a rest midweek. Ideally hold on to your transfers if you've not got a chip active as well. It is a lot of midweek football. Of course there will be a lot of rotation given it's the League Cup. I mean, some of you are going to be right on the tipping point, 50-50 between wildcard and a not, so that's perhaps an example of a situation where you could still go early to get ahead of price rises, and if it goes wrong then you activate the wildcard. So Vardy, Porro, Tarkowski look great as a back 3 on the free hit this week. Senesi is a really nice alternative third defender though for 4.7 mil, especially if you're trying to squeeze in Salah and Haaland on a free hit. You're going to need someone like him. I mean, he's a fantastic transfer this week whether you've got a chip active or not. 66 defensive contributions this season. He and Tarkowski are the only ones to do it in 100% of games so far. So we've got no Arsenal defenders on the table this week. They're playing Newcastle away. It's not like Newcastle banging in the goals. 4.57 expected goals, ranks 15th in the league. They've scored 3 goals in total. Only Aston Villa have scored fewer with 1. On a wildcard though, I'd recommend at least one Arsenal defender with a longer term view. They've got a very good chance of ending the season with the most clean sheets. Gabriel, for me, is the nailed, secure choice. Bit more goal threat than Saliba as well, historically. Timber and Calafiori, more goal threat than the centre-backs, but obviously a bit riskier, higher upside. They might not start all games. We've got Nico Williams on the table, but avoid him despite the goal last match. It's Sunderland home, which obviously is great. But after that, the fixtures turn in a bad way. They've got Newcastle and Chelsea and other difficult fixtures beyond that. No problem keeping him for one more week though if you've got him. He's great for Game Week 6 in isolation. So we're spoiled with the 4 mil defenders this season, going all the way down to the cheapest ones. We've got Esteve, Rodon, Gudmundsson, Alderete, Hartman, Ekdal and so on. I'm actually looking at Rodon on the wildcard. Leeds fixtures are slightly better than Sunderland and Burnley's for a while, just in case I ever need him. And he's got 47 defensive contributions this season, so he's averaging just under 10 per game week. Midfielders next, which has got Salah topping the table with an away game against Palace next. The Salah versus Haaland debate is properly underway now. As far as the next 5 game week projections, Haaland's slightly ahead, but actually not significantly, about 1.3 points. Of course, it's weeks like this where Haaland's heavily favoured for captaincy, which can be the difference maker. The difference between their underlying data is actually startling this season. Haaland's got 6.26 non-penalty expected goals this season. Salah's got 0.43. 6.26 versus 0.43. In terms of non-penalty XGI, that's 6.73 versus 1.03. A price fall for Reinders yesterday, followed up by an assist, defensive contribution points, and a bit of bonus points as well against Arsenal. He's brilliant value for 5.6 mil. Obviously, he might not be a consistent one for returns, but he's dead cheap. Foden's the really interesting one. He, of course, does cost quite a bit more. And he did come off early yesterday, but that was probably game state more than anything. Pep's been singing his praises in recent weeks, kind of suggesting that the Foden of old is back, and of course, Cherki and Marmoush are both likely out for a bit still. It could be a really nice differential pick for the next couple of games or so. Are any of you considering him? I mean, on a free hit, and even on a wild card, triple Man City attack with Haaland, Foden and Reinders could genuinely be explosive. Kluivert was benched again last match, which is great to see if you've got Semenyo or if you're buying him, because he'll remain on pens while Kluivert's not on the pitch. I mean, it's possible that he stays in them anyway when they do start together, but if last season's anything to go by, then that could be the pecking order. Kluivert, then Semenyo, then Evanilson. Looking a bit cheaper, I've been looking at Dewsbury Hall on the wildcard. 2 home games next, but he's on 4 yellow cards already. He's got 4 yellows across his last 4 games. And he needs to avoid a 5th by game week 19 to avoid a 1-match suspension, which is a ridiculously long time to go without booking, so it's almost certainly going to happen at some point, which has nudged me towards Stack as it stands. So as I mentioned in my transfer plans video, I've got him in the wildcard team. He's only 5 million, same as Dewsbury Hall, and he got 1 goal, 1 assist last match, scored a direct free kick, plus he is on corners. In fact, he got 15 points last game week, which actually made him the top scorer in game week 5. That's how unpredictable this season's been. We've got defensive mids topping the king of the game week standings multiple times. I think we had Zubimendi and maybe Caicedo as well. The midfield that I'm currently on in the wildcard is Bruno, Reinders, Ndiaye and Semenyo, and a Stack on the bench. But yeah, on a free hit, I mean, you have to squeeze in Foden, surely. Forwards next, and Haaland leads with the biggest projections of the season so far, 8.3. For comparison, Salah's on 6.1 this week. So, do you triple captain Haaland then? Well, obviously it's a no-go for the wildcarders and the free hitters, but loads of you aren't using either of those chips, which of course makes it a real possibility if you've got the chip still. Given Haaland's stats compared to Salah's so far, plus Palmer's niggling injury, I would go for it. Salah's got Sunderland home in game week 14, that looks great, if Salah can find form again of course. Palmer's also got Sunderland home himself in game week 9, assuming that he gets over the groin issue by then. There was a quote that caught my eye from Pep on Haaland, which is worth sharing with you. He said, at the end, this is the Arsenal game, at the end he was exhausted, a lot of pain in his back, suffering the last few days. It's so demanding and he will take a break a little bit to the last games. Difficult to understand exactly what he means by the wording, but in another interview he said, he asked me to go out. When you play United, Thursday and then Sunday, sometimes the body says it's enough. So I think he might get a rest midweek in the League Cup and looks good for Burnley home in game week 6. João Pedro plays against his old club Brighton at Stamford Bridge next, which has got him second on the table on 4.9 points, or tied with Richarlison in fact. Watkins can piss off, honestly. Like, I might have to redact his name from these videos after holding him for 5 game weeks with no goal involvement. Obviously with Fulham home, that's why he's on the table again, but Villa are just looking really, really bad. They've got 3.85 expected goals, which is worst in the league. As a reminder, what did we say Haaland's was? Like 6 point something XG. So Haaland's on almost double Aston Villa's entire XG as a team. They're also second worst for expected goals conceded. I mean, Wood is kind of similar to Watkins, isn't he? Like 4 blanks in a row for him. Only 1 more than Watkins has had in a row, but Wood did at least score a brace in Game Week 1. You may as well keep Wood for Sunderland home, then bin him off after that when the fixtures turn. I mean, Sunderland have actually been super impressive. I have to give them credit for that. It's not the same story as last season where we were targeting Southampton, Leicester, and it paid off more often than not. I mean, to get a red card and still draw with Villa last match was a great result. Gyökeres didn't manage a single shot on goal against City, 0 XG. There are some great fixtures coming up for Arsenal though. If you're on a wildcard, what's your front 3? Same question actually on a free hit. On my wildcard, I'm currently on Haaland, João Pedro, and I've still got Gyökeres in there. There is Evan Nilsson as well that I quite like. He's got Leeds away next, but that's where I'm at currently. Let us know below what your transfer plans are, who you're buying and who you're selling. And there's a link in the description to get 40% off Scout membership plus the extra 5%. Thanks for watching and see you soon for the next one.